Hey YouTube, I'm back. So this week I'm starting to polish the actual metals on my bike. Things like the rims, I'm going to polish them seasonally. The case guards, the kick pads, I guess, on the saddlebags, saddlebag crash bars, the bottom aluminums eventually for the passenger footrests, the little rails on the side covers, luggage rack all have to be polished. The arms on the armrest, these are actual metals and actual real chrome, not the ABS plastic that we all buy out of cheesy necessity like this guy here. When I got the bike, the rims were in really bad shape. They looked awful. This is what it looks like now, average running around on the streets. It's dry wiped. It's not really cleaned, but if you look really, really carefully, and it's going to be hard to see, I still have a lot of pitting along this inner lip, right at the edge and right at the turn in the material. And I don't really know if there's any point where you can see it in this lighting on this kind of a cheesy cell phone camera. But basically, the first time I did this, it took me about, I would say, 12 to 16 hours just for the front wheel. It was the worst of everything. Now this side, I've washed it with just like a foaming glass cleaner, so I'm not playing in mud. And I've already scotch padded it for the year with a Scotch-Brite pad. And I'm taking out some of the finer, just like hairs and scratch lines that I left the last time I did this. The bike is up on its kickstand, its center stand, and on a scissor jack under the case to keep the front wheel spinning so I can move it around as I want to work on it. But if you look in here, there's this ridge in the rim, and that's a problem spot. Also, right at each spoke is a little bit of a problem spot. Cleaning up and buffing these little edges here. They catch the buffing wheels, they hold, polish, and wax. And I don't know if you can actually tell what that is there, but that's still there from like last season. There's still wax and polish caught there. But there's also still, just a million little distortions in it that I'd like to get rid of. And the way I'm looking at it is, if this is a long-term kind of thing, I'm going to keep the bike. I'm not going to sell it. And there's a lot of little scratching here. Every year it's going to get a little bit better. If you take care of it and you keep working on it. There's a lot of little like gouges along those edges there. And I think maybe you can see those. But the biggest, or the worst part of it really is the groove right here, right where the turn is, and this outer edge. They're still really porous looking. They're hard to get clean. I don't go into the little cutouts here, which this is just like an unfinished kind of metal. It looks like a cast almost. And I don't try to make much of an effort in here, which is why this kind of looks so much shinier than this right now, because this has already been kind of a first sanding for this year. Originally, last year, I started with 400 grit, and then I went all the way up to 2,000, which I've got here. This year, I didn't think I was going to have to go that hard, and certainly doesn't look like I will. You just got some regular buffing compounds here. The wire wheels I used to get rid of all of the blisters, all of the really big gouges. Most of those are gone. I really don't need to deal with that this year at all. This is what I used on the chromes, the luggage rack, the case guards, crash bars, whatever you want to call them. That worked great. I used the Mother's aluminum, the Mother's aluminum polish, which I wasn't all that big a fan of. I didn't feel like it was giving me as nice a luster as it should have. I still have last year's wheels, and then I've got a bunch of new ones. You can buy the whole kit from Eastwood for like 39 bucks. It's pretty cheap stuff. I have the compounds that are the buffing materials, compound materials that they gave me with their kits. But this stuff is really unusual and weird. This is a little bit waxier product for my Obi. It feels like it would transfer easier. But the stuff that I got from Eastman or Eastwood, it's like hard as rock. It does not transfer to a wheel, a buffing wheel very well. And I mean, it feels like it's old or stale. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to feel, but it just crumbles into dust and dirt. So it's I'm not even going to bother with it this year. I wasted a lot of time with that. All it ever really did was blacken the wheels themselves, and then really didn't do what I had hoped it would do for the bike, which was why I went to the more liquidy kind of polishes. So, set up over here, just using a cheap electric drill because cordless drills just can't do this job. It's too much. You're pushing the drill against the rim the whole time. You're stopping the wheel's rotation with your foot, and you let the drill spin the wheel for you as you work. When I'm sanding, what I notice is that I look at the material as it comes towards me, and I'm bringing it in. But then when I look at it from the other direction, I see a lot of what I missed going this way. So I work it in both directions. And I'm going to try to do this one-handed because I'm holding a phone. But basically, I'll sit here right in front of it on a real low box, and I'll work as the rim comes towards me, and then I'll work downward as it goes by so I can see it. Always trying to hit this rim first, then over the whole front edge, the outer, let's fold that back, the outer face of the wheel band, then into the flat part, which is the main area that you see, because again, you got the big rotor covers usually in the way here. This area, I don't really think there's a real need to try to get in there and get crazy about polishing that. As long as it's clean, it's good enough for me. It's pretty much invisible most of the time. So really, even 3/4 of the way up the spokes, you stop seeing all of this, but this is a natural edge or line to stop, what I'm doing, and just let it stay in factory condition. Especially like I say, if it's clean, it's good enough for me. And it does look perfectly normal. It did not when I got it. The rims were in bad shape. I thought they were going to have to be replaced for sure. But I took a shot at cleaning them last year, and it went really well. It was a lot of work. I didn't know what I was doing. Stumbled my way through it like I do a lot of things. The total investment in the front wheel last year was probably 3 weekends worth of work. Again, I don't usually get all day or anything to work on bikes, or this bike. And I by no means am a mechanic. In case anybody hadn't noticed, I'm an electrician by trade, which is why I kind of know what I'm doing with the stereo wires. But I'm going to polish this out. Right now I've got it at just, the Scotch-Brite pad. I haven't really gone at it with any sandpaper. I was starting to, but I was actually getting deeper cuts into it than I wanted. So I went back to the Scotch-Brite pad and cleaned it up. So I'm going to run the drill over it, right, with a buffing wheel on it. And I'm going to try Brasso. Supposedly it does aluminum, says it right here on the bottle. So I'm going to put you down. It's going to get really loud, and I'm going to try to aim the phone at this side of the wheel so you get an idea of how I'm doing this. Again, I have no clue what I'm doing. This is all amateur night stuff. If you know more, stick with what you know. Don't trust me, because if I destroy this motorcycle, again, I think I can always sell it for what I've got into it. When I don't think I can anymore is when I stop messing around. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a few minutes of this, because it's going to be really boring and it's going to be really loud. So I don't know how to cut the audio of a video, so turn your computer down or whatever you're watching, your cell phone. Turn the volume down. I'm going to try to set the phone so that you can see the wheel and kind of what I'm doing with it. I'm going to try to get you a little bit closer, like right about there. And here we go. I'm going to take a reasonably clean microfiber rag, put some polish on it, and start working it onto the wheel. I'm going to kind of go all the way around, start spreading around so I don't have giant puddles everywhere. Again, you're never going to get a great finish around the spokes just because there's these edges, there's these shapes, there's the holes in them that catch the buffing wheels. But you know, it is what it is. It's almost a 30-year-old motorcycle at this point, and the wheels do look good. There's still dust coming out of them, so there's black on the rag. I don't know if you can actually see that, but that's kind of bringing out some of that mess. But I want to leave enough of that paste behind, or the polish behind, to give me a buffing agent when I go at it with the drill. And again, it's so hard to see. You go ice blind after looking at this for a while, where it just kind of all becomes one thing, a blur, basically. So you got to look at it from multiple directions. Just take a regular 3/8 half-inch corded drill and lock the trigger in once it's going, and go for it. So I'm going to polish up a little bit of this and show it to you, and then stop wasting your time. So it's Easter weekend. Everybody have a happy holiday, and let's go at it. So I'm taking a look at this, and I'm not really getting anywhere near the polish look I want out of this. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this, because on the other side you would be able to see, and I guess you can here too, see the reflection of my finger, or basically anything, but it's not very good. So maybe Brasso isn't the answer. See, like this one, you can see my fingernail in the reflection. And that's kind of how I've been judging this. So I'm going to put you down again. I'm going to grab the mothers and go at the same spot right here between the weights and the valve, the Schrader valve, and see if we can make this look different than that. Because I don't know. The Brasso doesn't seem to be doing much at all, actually. Doesn't even seem to be giving it any kind of luster at all. I mean, it's actually shinier right there behind the weights from last year than it is with the Brasso from right now. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We're going to switch materials and see what happens. This is kind of why everything takes me way longer than it would a normal person, because I have no clue what I'm doing and I'm just messing around. Okay, here we go again. So cover your ears and scream la 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 inside your head. Okay, for those of you who stuck around, I'm glad you did. World of difference. I can clearly see the reflection of my thumbnail on that rim. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's never going to look like chrome, but that is a really beautiful finish. I mean, it looks great. And this was kind of the result I got last year. Oops, sorry. Almost dropped you. But the difference between that and, you know, something back over here is just crazy different. Boy, you can probably, yeah, you can see the cell phone in it, actually. So for a, 27-year-old or whatever, 28-year-old motorcycle wheel, it comes out super smooth. It's a lot of work, but it's really not all that dangerous if you're worried about like gouging the metals or anything. Like I say, start by hand with a 400. Go easy at it at first to get a feel for it. You really get a sense of feeling the metal, feeling where your rough spots are. You'll feel where the textured area here of the insets, or the, whatever you want to call these, the openings, start. So you really don't ever go into those too much. I mean, I've probably nicked them a few times, but it's not even visible anywhere. But that finish is really amazing. I'm going to put the phone on pause and see if I can do the whole side, and then just kind of give you a quick view of that before I'm done. So be patient, and we'll be back. Okay, guys, so I'm done. Went ahead and gave it a final buffing, but there it is. I mean, it looks really good. This is a very old motorcycle wheel. and it just looks good. It's clean. Certainly clean enough that nobody's going to look at the wheels and go, oh, those are shot, or, wow, those are bad. I mean, yeah, when I got the bike, that was the case. That was my opinion, was I thought I'd get rid of them. Just really sand it, Scotch-Brite it, be patient with yourself, take your time. Don't gouge too heavily at it, but at first, if you've got a lot of pitting or if you've got a lot of corrosion, you're going to have to get rid of that first. Once you do, I mean, bump up in grit on sandpaper as fast as you can. Get as high as you can. The Scotch pad is supposed to be pretty abrasive, but it doesn't really dig in that badly. You get used to it, and you used to get to just kind of sanding lightly with it, buffing lightly with it. But I mean, that's a 27-year-old motorcycle tire. 50,000 miles on it. Honestly, it's not in that bad of shape. You can even see a reflection of things off of it. And this is an aluminum wheel, not chrome. I mean, this could pass for a motorcycle tire that's only a year old. That's barely been on the road, let alone 50,000 miles worth. It's clean. So, there you go. There you have it. Have any questions? If I can answer them, by all means, I'd be happy to, but there are plenty of people who know more about this stuff than me on YouTube. So, good luck with it, and take care. Happy Easter.